Good day. I'm Andre Manuel Chua for BSC News Philippines. Violence against women and their children are becoming a global problem. In fact, 35% of women aged 15 to 44 are becoming victims of domestic violence. These cases are much higher than having a risk of cancer, malaria, or even car accidents. It is quite alarming to this point. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, according to the Philippine National Demographic and Survey, 1 out of 4 Filipinos are becoming victims of such violence in year 2017. And in year 2020, where pandemic has emerged, it has grown or increased in a very high margin. In Quezon City, for example, an average of 8 women a day are becoming victims of such abuse. Here are their complaints.
Nirape po ako ng asawa ko.
I was beaten by my sexual partner.
Laki ko nanalaki si Papa. Sabi niya po binubugbog si Mama.
I am deprived to have a decent occupation by my partner.
Is there a law to protect us?
The answer is yes. These acts of violence are punishable under the Republic Act No. 9262, otherwise known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. It was signed by our former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. The main objective of this law is to protect the family, particularly the women and their children, from violence. These are the acts of violence defined under this law. First is the physical violence. This refers to physical harm, such as Princess's sexual partner who was beating her. Second is sexual violence. These are acts of violence which are sexual in nature, such as Mary's husband who raped her. Third is the psychological violence. This is an act or omission that causes mental or emotional suffering to the victim, such as Angel witnessing her father's violence against her mother. And fourth, economic abuse. This is an act that makes a woman financially dependent, just like Nicole's partner who restricts her from getting a decent occupation or job.
Does a teacher who humiliates its student is included in this law?
Definitely no, because as stated in this law, the offender must have a significant relationship with the victim. It could be the victim's husband or someone who she has a sexual or dating relationship with. It could also be the victim's father or stepfather. Hence, the teacher is not included. But for such cases, you may refer to another law, which is the Republic Act No. 7610, or the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act.
Excuse me. Teka lang. Tatama lang kita. Kasi, oo, inaamin ko naman na napagbuhatan ko siya ng kamay. Pero hindi naman yung nagresulta ng physical injury.
Well, according to Section 5 of this law, you still caused a physical harm against your partner by just merely hitting her. So you might still be punished under the revised penal code by slight physical injuries.
Paano yung sa akin? Kasal kami. Saka may legal na karapatan kami para magtalik.
Yes, as a married couple, you have the legal right to do it, but it is still a form of sexual violence against your wife, as stated in the Section 5 of this law, causing or attempting to cause the woman to engage in any sexual activity which does not constitute rape by force or threat of force or through intimidation directed to the woman or her child. Forcing your wife to have a sexual intercourse with you, even if she doesn't want to, is a form of sexual violence, so you might still be punished by this law.
In my defense, my violence is not directly to my children. It is only to my wife.
Whether direct or indirect, an engagement to any form of harassment or violence is most likely to cause emotional or psychological distress to the victim. Therefore, you didn't just cause distress to your wife, but also to your children.
I have not done any of these harms to my partner. I only inflict self-harm whenever she insists to find a job.
Inflicting self-harm just to control your partner's actions and decision is also a form of violence, even if you are not hurting her. By the mere fact that you are imposing self-harm to yourself just to control her decisions is still punishable by this law. And please, stop being a manipulative sad boy.
Ano po bang mga karapatan namin mga biktima ng karahasan?
Great question. Well, these are also your rights stated under this law. To be treated with respect and dignity, victims shall not be humiliated for being a victim. Instead, they must be respected and supported. To avail of legal assistance from Public Attorney's Office or any public legal assistance office, victims shall have legal assistance for them to file a proper complaint to the family court. They are entitled to support services from the DSWD and LGUs. This includes rehabilitation, counseling, temporary shelter, and medical assistance. Entitlement to all legal remedies and support. And to be informed of the rights and services available, including the right to apply for a protection order. A protection order under Section 8 is an order issued for the purpose of preventing further acts of violence to the victim.
Saan po kami dapat magsumbong ng violence?
There are plenty of government agencies involved in this law, but are they accessible to the public? Well, this law has been effective for almost 17 years now. Women's desks are available in every barangay and police stations nationwide. Healthcare facilities are also an option to report such violence. Rest assured that all the records of violence against women and their children will remain confidential and shall not be known to the public, especially not without your consent. Any person or agency who violates this provision shall suffer the penalty of 1 year imprisonment and a fine not more than 500,000 pesos. Due to domestic violence, thousands of women die each year. These women and their children suffer every single day in their life in the darkest corners of their own homes. This is a very serious matter and we should never be silent about it. To the world, let us not forget to always check up on our loved ones. And to our fellow women and children, please do not ever hesitate to seek help from your families, friends, and even the authorities. Because a person might hurt or degrade you, but you have the whole world to fight with you. Because no human, no woman, and no child deserves to be treated unequally and violently. You are all worthy, valued, loved, and most of all, stronger than you think you are. We could not bear to witness another woman or child to suffer violence, let alone death in the hands of an evil ever again. Let us stop domestic violence, bring offenders to justice, and fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Remember, violence is a choice, and that choice is a crime. I repeat, this is not the time to be silent. Let us all work together and stop domestic violence.